Good day, Africa. Welcome to another episode of African Child. I am Inioluwa. Okay, with me I have Lawson Inioluwa, who will be talking to us about human rights. You're welcome, Sister Anya.
My name is Lawson Inioluwa. I attend Lawson Royal College. I'm 13 years old. I'm a stubborn girl.
Okay. And your topic is
human rights.
Yes, our topic is human rights. And I don't know if she's aspiring to become an activist in the nearest future.
No.
Why are you not talking in favor of humans? Why are you talking about human rights?
Because I chose to talk about it.
Why did you choose to talk about it?
Because government and parents have denied people and individuals of their fundamental human rights.
And you say you don't want to be an activist. What do you mean by human? What do you understand by human rights?
Human rights is when an individual is entitled or have the privilege or freedom to do something or express his or herself as a citizen.
So do you have that privilege? Are you sure? You can express yourself anyway.
Partially.
Like you're doing now. You're not doing partially here. You're doing fully here. You express yourself fully. That's your right. Right to
freedom of speech.
And you say you don't want to be an activist. You must be. As we were saying, human rights. What do you have to say on that human rights? Like you said, human rights is this. How? You've defined human rights. What are the fundamental human rights?
Fundamental human rights as follows: freedom of speech, right to life, freedom of education, right to vote and be voted for, right to political parties,
and so on.
Right to religion and so on.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Okay, how do you think a right of a person can be violated?
Okay, when someone's right has been trampled upon and does not have the privilege to seek redress in a court and does not fight for his rights.
And he's unable to fight for his rights.
Unable to fight for his rights.
You can say the person's right has been violated. Okay, if the right of a person is being violated, how does it affect that person, especially the African child? As you, as an African child, has your right ever been violated?
Yes.
Which one?
By not associating freely with my friends.
So which right is that one?
Like right association. Like I can associate with people I like.
So you didn't associate with them, or did they associate with you? Which one?
They associated with me.
But you were not free. You were not free. So you actually violated their own right to association. So how do you think that affected them? So that's the main point. How do you think violation of human rights can affect? Yeah, no, not you. Like Africans now, like people. How do you think the violation of their rights can affect them?
They can be depressed. They can be depressed. They feel. How do I put it?
Intimidated.
Yes. They feel intimidated. They feel left out, and they feel
isolated.
Exactly.
Thank you, Inioluwa, for that. Yes, so we're going on a very short break right now, and I want you to stay tuned.
The Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Now, what the righteous can do is just pull down the whole building and erect a more stable and solid foundation. So what we have to do is forget our leaders and let's just build ourselves.
And the parents too should try to move closer to their children. They should know what is happening in their life and what is happening in their school.
You don't need to be discouraged. Be who you are. You didn't come to this life to live people's life, to impress anybody.
We cannot blame only our leaders for being corrupt or doing this. If everyone here can stop being corrupt, and everyone in Africa can just stop this act, then corruption will no longer be a problem in Africa.
If you have proper focus and you have a proper foresight and you know what you are doing, you would come up.
Considering couples, they need to study themselves for a considerable period of time before thinking of marriage, so that the incompatibility stuff does not continue to pop up.
Kofi Annan said, and I quote, "I'm not an African because I was born in Africa. But because Africa was born in me, I'm a bona fide citizen of Africa. I'm an African, and I'm born to rule.
African child, African child, African child, African child.
Human rights. I think I need to make a distinguishing factor between human rights and fundamental human rights. A lot of people do not know. Now, human rights, these are the rights that everybody in the world have agreed upon that should be agreed to individuals. Like right to life, freedom of education, accession from discrimination, choose your own religion the way you want it. It is the world that have agreed on that. Human rights, it is inherent in all persons that have come to this world to stay. If you are alive in this world, human rights is entrenched in you naturally. Now, fundamental human rights. These are the part of human rights that nobody must take away from you. Some person can take part of your human right away from you. Yes. So even laws at times take away your right away from you. Some laws take away your right away from you. Even governmental policies take away your right away from you at times.
African child, African child, African child, African child.
Welcome back. This is African Child. Like I said earlier, and I am Marie Shoki Black. This is Lawson Inioluwa, who is talking to us about human rights. Okay. Before we went on the break the other time, we were talking about the effects of violation of human rights on Africans. So right now, I want her to tell us about how we can actually protect our rights.
Through media coverage.
Okay.
Mass media helps to protect human rights and the rule of law from unnecessary abuse by assisting individuals or groups to expose the public act of justice.
Okay.
Then protest marches. People can protest against the denial of their fundamental human rights through peaceful protest marches. We have hunger strike. An accused person can engage in hunger strike. That is, the person might not bath, drink, or eat because he has been denied of his fundamental human rights.
And do it. Okay.
Don't
Still that hunger strike. Do you think the people who have what does he actually want? Like, why did he actually think of hunger strike? Is it like wanting people to feel pity, or I don't get it?
Like, person is depressed.
Okay.
Under depression.
Okay, person under depression, so that got hunger strike. No problem. Continue.
Respecting the affected person in court. I first like to define a court. A court is a place where an aggrieved person seeks for redress. A person whose right has been trampled upon may not have the opportunity, privilege, or freedom to go to the court to seek for redress and fight for his rights.
I haven't given the points in which, in the ways in which people can actually protect their rights. Can you give examples of organizations who help in protecting human rights?
We have Students' Union, Nigerian Union of Teachers, ethnic organizations, civil society organizations, international organizations, and so on.
Okay, so you've given us the list of some of the organizations that can help in protecting human rights. So can you like brief us on maybe one or two of the organizations?
We have Students' Union. This is practiced most in university. Like students protest against when the authorities or people in charge of the school like
the management
and the management restrict them of their rights. Okay. Like the management can decide to like close the school and say there's no school, like they can go on strike. They don't give them electricity, like lights, and maybe and so on. So students come together, like students, they come together, they are united and protest and fight for their rights. To fight for their rights. Government workers, when the government don't pay their salary, they feel angry and they protest and
they actually express their anger.
Yes,
by going on
express.
strike.
Yes.
Imagine, okay. How will you feel if your right is actually being violated?
I feel down, depressed, and I can be angry at the moment. I can be angry at that moment.
Okay, how do you think you can actually how can you get yourself out of that anger or that devastation?
When I sit down and think straightly and be like, people can just restrict me or deny me of my rights. So I have to fight and protect my rights.
And by that way, you have become an activist. You say you want to become an activist, but then you are saying that you're going to fight for your rights. Fighting for your rights, being an activist does not mean you have to just go straight into being an activist. You can help people, like educate them on how they can protect their rights.
I said it because your right is your power. Okay. Your right is a decision you make to become who you are in future. Your right is what defines you. Your right is what makes you.
Your right is you.
Is you.
Yes. Thank you very much. We're going on a very short break right now, and we will be right back.
The Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Now, what the righteous can do is just pull down the whole building and erect a more stable and solid foundation. So what we have to do is forget our leaders and let's just build ourselves.
And the parents too should try to move closer to their children. They should know what is happening in their life and what is happening in their school.
You don't need to be discouraged. Be who you are. You didn't come to this life to live people's life, to impress anybody.
We cannot blame only our leaders for being corrupt or doing this. If everyone here can stop being corrupt and everyone in Africa can just stop this act, then corruption will no longer be a problem in Africa.
If you have proper focus and you have a proper foresight and you know what you are doing, you would come up.
Considering couples, they need to study themselves for a considerable period of time before thinking of marriage, so that the incompatibility stuff does not continue to pop up.
Kofi Annan said, and I quote, "I'm not an African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. I'm a bona fide citizen of Africa. I'm an African, and I'm born to rule."
African child, African child, African child, African child.
Right to education is not part of our fundamental human rights. It's not part of the fundamental human right of a child. It's not human right because it is assumed that the government cannot train all children in an African state or in Nigeria as a whole. However, some basic parts of human rights have been enshrined as our own fundamental human right. And I think it is time for the African nation to stand up for the African child, especially on the issue of education. Education should be made to be free, fair, and compulsory. It should not be under our human right again. It should be a fundamental human right on every African child. The state has what it takes to educate every child. No child must be deprived of education at any level. So human right generally is for everybody, but fundamental human rights are those ones that are naturally inalienable, that are meant to be taken care of and to be given to every child.
African child, African child, African child, African child.
Welcome back. This is the African Child. Like I said before, I am Ariosho Kiblat Okpeyemi. She is Lawson Inioluwa, and she's talking to us. She has been talking to us about human rights. Right now, she's going to give us a piece of give the Africans a piece of advice on how they can be able to protect the rights.
Okay. Building your self-confidence. Before you can decide, okay, I want to protest or fight against my rights, you must have the confidence, or you must be bold to be like, okay, I can do it. Not just be shy and be like, when you not get there, you move aside. You must be bold and tell people that my right is my power. You can't just restrict me from doing what I'm meant to do. government should give people chance. That is, they should give them freedom of speech because it's part of our right as individuals. Because government of nowadays don't like people talking or saying their mind. They don't give you the chance to express yourself. So you yourself, this can cause low self-esteem. You feel, oh, don't let me talk. You can, if someone is in danger now, you can be like, don't let me talk. If something happens, they say it's me. So you feel what you're meant to do at that time. You feel, oh, it's wrong.
You feel restricted.
You feel restricted.
Okay. Thank you very much, Inioluwa, Lawson. Yes, I appreciate that. Africa Child really appreciates that. So what she's trying to say in essence is that your right is your power. Your right defines you. It is you. You are your right. Your right is you. That's just what she's trying to say. That will be all for this episode of African Child. Do not forget that I am Emiyosho Kiblat Okpeyemi. She is Lawson Inioluwa, and the topic is human rights. So I come your way next time. Bye.
The Bible says if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Now, what the righteous can do is just pull down the whole building and erect a more stable and solid foundation. So what we have to do is forget our leaders and let's just build ourselves.
And the parents too should try to move closer to their children. They should know what is happening in their life and what is happening in their school.
You don't need to be discouraged. Be who you are. You didn't come to this life to live people's life, to impress anybody.
We cannot blame only our leaders for being corrupt or doing this. If everyone here can stop being corrupt and everyone in Africa can just stop this act, then corruption no longer be a problem in Africa.
If you have proper focus and you have a proper foresight and you know what you are doing, you would come up.
Considering couples, they need to study themselves for a considerable period of time before thinking of marriage, so that the incompatibility stuff does not continue to pop up.
Kofi Annan said, and I quote, "I'm not an African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. I'm a bona fide citizen of Africa. I'm an African, and I'm born to rule."
African child, African child.